Hello friends, Duncan here. Beautiful sunrise this morning in Daytona Beach, Florida. Had a great long ride yesterday down from Charleston, and now it's time to load the bike. Taking my time to make sure I get all of my BMW Vario panniers and top case, also getting my tail bag attached, making sure everything is secure and ready to go. Checking the bike over to make sure everything's ready. We'll check the tire pressure as soon as we get on the road and we get rolling. Bike ran perfect yesterday, and that was a lot of fun heading down. So the plan for the next 2 days is to make my way from Daytona Beach all the way down to Marathon, Florida. We'll make a stop tonight in West Palm Beach, and then the next day pass through Key Largo on the way down to Marathon. Marathon is within about 45 miles of Key West, which is our ultimate destination. Enjoy. So traveling alone has its advantages and disadvantages. It gives you a chance to think about simple things like the weather. Is it going to rain? What are the winds going to do? What's the temperature? It really brings you down to the basics of life and the sights and sounds of being on the road alone with the bike. When you should eat and sleep, all those things become secondary in a way when you're out on the road. It's more about enjoying the trip, being in tune with the bike, and enjoying the travel and ultimately achieving a destination. That's what I've enjoyed about this trip so far, is being away from all the distractions and just being in tune with the bike and the road, the sunshine, and traveling south. And that's what this episode is really all about, traveling south. I've been to the Keys many times, and there's something about the Keys that is so isolated in a way, and in another way, it's a dead end, and you eventually have to turn around and come back. But it's something about being at the end of that destination, the end of the islands, that has its attraction for me. All the isolated keys and islands and bridges and traveling in the beauty of the coast. That's what this trip is all about, at least in the first half. In the second half of this series, we'll make our way back through the west coast of Florida, traveling across the Everglades and up the beautiful west coast on the Gulf of Mexico side. So please enjoy as we travel south. I'd love to hear what some of your favorite memories are traveling by motorcycle. Please leave them in the comments, and I look forward to hearing about them. After a beautiful day of riding along the coast of Florida, we finally arrived at the hotel for the evening. After a nice dinner and a good night's rest, it's time to bring the bike around from the parking lot and begin loading up for the day. After studying my route options the night before, I reconsider my route and decide to get on the Florida Turnpike headed south, getting me down to Homestead and eventually down into the Florida Keys. As we leave the Florida mainland, we're getting ready to go across a very special part of the road that connects down to the Keys, known as the Blue Wall. This is part of the Overseas Highway, which is a 113-mile highway carrying U.S. Route 1 through the Florida Keys to Key West. Large parts of it were built on the former rights-of-way of the Overseas Railroad, the Key West extension of the Florida East Coast Railway. Completed in 1912, the Overseas Railroad was heavily damaged and partially destroyed in the 1935 Labor Day hurricane. The Florida East Coast Railway was financially unable to rebuild the destroyed sections, so the roadbed and remaining bridges were sold to the state of Florida for $640,000. Since the 1950s, the Overseas Highway has been refurbished into a main coastal highway between the cities of Miami and Key West, offering travelers an exotic roadway through a tropical savanna environment and access to the largest area of coral reefs on the U.S. mainland. Many exotic animals such as the American alligator, American crocodile, and key deer inhabit the tropical islands of the Florida Keys. Cruising right along, making very good time. I've done quite a number of dive trips to the Keys over the years, and I would say that the Upper Keys is really one of the one of the best places to dive. You've got it's one of the Upper Keys are one of the best places to dive. You've got the John Pennekamp State Park, which is actually a marine sanctuary, which is located on the Atlantic side, and there's lots of statues underwater. It's a really healthy reef system that you can snorkel, you can dive. But there's also a couple of really well-known shipwrecks that have been sunk out here to create habitats. There are two Coast Guard ships, and then there's also another very large wreck that's out here, and I've done a number of dives on those. Sometimes the conditions can be a little bit challenging. All depends on the currents and the seas and weather, all those things. Really great opportunities for both shallow and deep dives, for both shallow and deep dives. So would highly recommend that. Policeman there. I'm pretty sure that was a R1250 RT, police motors that he was sitting on. Looked like it. So we're coming up onto Werner Creek. And this is the marina right here on the right where the dive boats leave from. There's a dive operator there called Conch Republic Diving. So the Keys, by the way, are sometimes known as the Conch Republic. But they do a great job, and they were very good friends for the dive shop that I used to work for, Bermuda Triangle, located in Greenville. So the diving is a whole nother story. I really haven't gotten into that too much in my vlog yet. I have posted a couple of dives that I did. I did one with Manta Scuba last September in Cabo San Lucas, in what they call the corridor. And then I had another couple of dives that I did with Stuart Phillips Diving in Freeport, Bahamas. That was also really fantastic, so please take a look at those videos. Might be interesting for you. Give you a little bit of what the experience is like to go out on a dive boat, and what that Theater by the Sea, very popular place. By the way, over the 113 miles of roadway from Key Largo to Key West, It incorporates an astonishing 42 bridges, leapfrogging from key to key in a series of giant arches of concrete and steel over the open waters of the Atlantic, Florida Bay, and the Gulf of Mexico. This is the Florida Keys, absolutely. Look at the color of this water, beautiful green. The Atlantic on the left, Gulf of Mexico on the right. It's been a long day of riding, so I decide to stop at one of my favorite restaurants for a late lunch before checking into the hotel. This is on the right here. This is the Florida Steak and Lobster House, and I highly recommend it.
Hello friends, Duncan here. I'm currently in the middle of my trip exploring Florida's beautiful coast, and I started off 3 days ago at the northeast coast of Florida in the small city of Daytona Beach, and making my way south on A1A all the way down into the Keys. So I'm currently located in Marathon, Florida. I'll be here for 2 nights, but tomorrow I'll make a day trip down into Key West. Put in a lot of miles. I put in about 1,000 miles the past couple of days. I know that that's not much comparatively, but for me, as an older motorcycle rider, I feel every mile try to pace myself. So that's the most important thing. So it's really been great. My bike has worked perfectly, so I've got a 2016 R1200 GS, has really run well. It's been a little cool, also fairly windy the past couple of days, that's fairly good. But I definitely wanted you to know kind of what's going on. As I've mentioned in the comments on some of my other videos, I've also switched over to Adobe Premiere Pro, and I'm working hard to become a better editor and also a better storyteller, so would appreciate any comments or feedback that you have about that. And finally, I would ask for the 95% of you that watch my videos that are not subscribers, I really would ask you to push the like and subscribe button. I don't want to be like some of the other vloggers that every time they open their mouth, they're asking you to like and subscribe, so that's just not me. That's not the way act. But I would ask if you could do that. That gives me feedback on what type of content you like, so that I can produce more of it for you. So that's it for today. Again, thanks for watching, and take care.